Portugal, founded in 136 BC by Roman general Decimus Junius Brutus Callacius, was once a bustling port town located at the mouth of the Douro River. During the decline of the Roman Empire, the town and surrounding territory were taken by the Suebi, who failed to keep the same level of commercial success in the town that the Romans had achieved. In the year 584, the Visigoths laid claim to the area, and the town became known as Portugal. Several changes of rulers later, the territory expanded to become a country on the Iberian Peninsula, still bearing the Roman port town-inspired name. The name underwent a couple more minor changes before finalizing sometime in the 11th or 12th century as Portugal. 9 or 10 centuries later, in the year 2004, a ragtag rock band from Alaska named themselves Portugal.The Man. Quote, "A country is a group of people," guitar player and vocalist John Gorley explains. With Portugal, it ended up just being the first country that came to mind. The band's name is Portugal. The period is stating that, and The Man states that it's just one person. Throughout the 2000s, the group established a strong following as independent artists, but in 2017, their career took an exciting new direction by way of finally landing a single on the Billboard Hot 100. The single, released in early 2017 for their 8th studio album Woodstock, was a sleeper hit, taking 8 months to reach its height at the number 4 spot on the Hot 100. The song also hit the top 10 in Australia, Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Ireland, New Zealand, Norway, Portugal, Slovenia, Spain, Switzerland, the United Kingdoms as well, and topped the charts in Mexico and Russia. The unprecedented success of the single took the band all the way to the 60th Annual Grammy Awards, where it won for Best Pop Duo/Group Performance. The secret to the song's success? Blatantly lifting the melody from the Marvelettes' 1961 hit, Please, Mr. Postman. Originally, the melody had been put in the chorus as a placeholder, but the band ended up keeping it in, with the nostalgia for... Let's try it again. Originally, the melody had been put in the chorus as a placeholder, but the band ended up keeping it in, with the nostalgia for that music being both personal for Gorley and thematically appropriate for the nostalgia-tinged lyrics of the song itself, which calls out the years 1966 and 1986. That's right, we're talking Feel It Still by Portugal.The Man on Cover Me.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for Kickstart. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for...
That's right, it's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous songs to their many cover versions to find out which one is coming. I'm your host, as always, The Snake, joined by my little baby co-host...
Alex Mildenberger.
Alex Mildenberger. How you doing?
Things are going all right. We have COVID in the house, but it hasn't hit me. Hopefully, it doesn't.
You can sequester yourself to your wing of the house.
I mostly have, which is to say I didn't change anything, but yeah.
I've changed no habits and I expect good results.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, if you just get a hot plate up in there, you probably don't have to leave.
Yeah, and like maybe a mini fridge.
Yeah, mini fridge.
I need hot and I need cold.
Yeah, that's it. You just need the hot and cold and you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, Alex, how's that theremin going in all this?
Oh, let's talk about that for a minute.
Hey.
I'm still varnishing. Was I varnishing last time? I think I would have.
Always. You're constantly varnishing.
I only have one surface left to varnish.
Okay.
But I have to do 2 coats. So I have to do it, let it dry, do another. So, it's going to take a little while in that I just can't do it in the same day. But I'll probably get a coat on this weekend and then hopefully another one sometime this week. And then I have to put everything together.
Hell yeah, we're seeing the final stretches.
Yeah, it's coming together, man. There's just a few things left to do. Mostly putting it together though.
Mostly putting it together.
Yeah.
Alex, what's a song that doesn't have theremin in it that you think would benefit from a little theremin in the mix?
Most songs. Honestly, a theremin's cool because I feel like any song with a high violin or something can really benefit from a theremin version. I mean, it's an easy switch, right? Right. Anything kind of in the high, thin range. That's what I'm thinking of now. And
that's what I'm thinking of now. Now, I don't know if this counts as high violin, but you got me thinking of the string section from Call Me Maybe for some reason. You know that sting, right? Would that be a good theremin?
I think it would be, actually, yeah. It might be difficult on the theremin only because maybe I'm just bad at it. But No, probably wouldn't be that difficult. Yeah, and you can also kind of tune it down, like change the frequency range of the theremin by like tuning the circuits. So you could play a lower sound for sure. I don't really know what the ultimate range is.
That high string range.
But it can be good for low stuff too. In the like cello range, kind of.
Cello.
You got
a theremin.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, can you do some ELO maybe? ELO's got a lot of high string in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also you would give it like kind of a weird like electronic edge, you know? So yeah, ELO would definitely
be right in there.
Would definitely be fitting.
Things to consider, folks, if you got a theremin at home. Little ELO, a little I always forget her name because I want to say
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Carly Rae Jepsen. She's Canadian, right? Isn't she?
I think so.
Hell yeah, Canadian treasure. But we're not talking about Canadian treasures, we're talking about Alaskan treasures today, a band we've seen live in the flesh.
The Canada of America, Alaska.
The Canada of America, Alaska. That is their slogan. It's weird when you drive over the border. Welcome to the Canada of America. Alex, Portugal the Man. What are your thoughts and feelings on him?
I like him. Got some good tunes. I mean, we saw them.
We did. In the flesh.
Live at the old McEwen Hall at the UFC, University of Calgary.
Hall, baby.
Yeah, I like Portugal the Man. I'm a little more into like In the Mountain, in the Clouds, and Evil Friends era. Oh, but I can do some what's this album called? Woodstock. Too, yeah, you know, it's got some good stuff. This song I've heard a ton because it was like a hit.
Yeah,
it was
that's
weird.
Rare for you because you usually don't even hear the hits.
Yeah, and like it was weird, like seeing my mom watch this being performed on Ellen. You know,
that is weird.
It was, unusual for me.
Yeah, well, especially with we'll talk about what this song means in a minute, but I feel like it hit an audience that did the reverse of what I think the thesis of this song is. Which is bizarre because my parents also listened to it, and that was not great. It's not. It's I don't usually have the trouble of my parents listening to the music I listen to, but this was one I got into. Woodstock is the Portugal the Man album I know, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to see Portugal the Man, and they're like, oh yeah, Rebel just for kicks now. I'm like, oh, fuck. That said, not the best concert I've been to. Not the worst. Kind of middling.
No, it was fine. It was fine. There's some good moments.
Good moments. My problem is, and this is me, maybe this is just who I am, but I feel like when you go to their style of like rock and roll, I want them to talk to us a bit, but they did their whole like PowerPoint presentation. Right. I was like, we don't put no
words on the
yeah, they're like we don't know what to say.
Back.
We're bad at stage banners, so just look at our pretty backgrounds. So you didn't even really get to see them for most of the show because it was like highlighting their visuals.
Yeah, it was a lot of lights and stuff, which was cool. Mm-hmm. At least at times. No, that was an interesting concert. Talked to a guy. He was like, hey, man, is that like some kind of synth? He specified, though, like on the stage. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think it's this other kind of synth. And then he was like, no, it doesn't really. And then we like kind of disagreed and just like split apart. And then I realized I was like, oh, shit, he said on the left side, not the right side. So we were just talking about different synthesizers.
Different synths. Did you run back to find him?
I was like, guy, I figured out. I fucked up. I couldn't remember the difference between left and right. Random guy at a concert. I'm not actually really dumb for that reason, for a different reason.
That reminds me of that time we were at a show at, I think, Broken City, and I was like, see that bass? It's a P bass. And I looked at it again, I was like, no, wait, that's a J bass. And this dude like turned around and he's like, it's both. And I was like, holy shit.
There's those PJ basses.
It's one of those, he's like, it's PJ, it's custom. I was like, fuck, okay, cool.
At least that's understandable, because you can like look at one part and be like, it's this, and then you look at another part and you're like, oh, it's actually this, because it is true in both cases.
It is true in both lights. So
as opposed to wrong in both cases.
And I guess that's how men bond, is we go to concerts and identify instruments.
We just talk about gear, man.
We're gear.
What kind of gear you got?
These guys got some gear, let me tell you. They got guitars, they got drums, they got it all, man. I was trying to find a way to transition to the next segment. Feel It Still let's just dive into these lyrics, Alex.
Yeah, let's talk about the
figure out what
lyrics.
this song's about. 'Cause I'll tell you this: listen to it casually this week before I took a deep analysis. I was like, this song is nonsense. It's about nothing.
It does seem like that, and I had no idea what it was about ahead of time. But fortunately, like the band have genius annotations that they have made.
Yeah, did you find those helpful?
A little bit.
Yeah, like a little bit of hit and miss, a little bit of patting each other on the back.
Yeah, some of it was just like them talking about shit. Or like mentioning something without really going into detail about something. But what it seems to be to me anyway is like they've been together for a while as a band. They're getting older, but they're like late 30s, early 40s kind of, passing into middle age. And they're just like talking about what that means and like having responsibilities, but also being musicians kind of.
Well, yeah, they've got out of the rat race, or they're no longer in the lower classes, so to speak, and they have become fathers. Specifically, Gorley, who wrote this song, and so it's about doing the things like fighting for causes, being a rebel, but having no skin in the game, really, because he's not affected one way or the other because he's managed to get out of that portion of his life.
Yeah, and has other things to worry about. So like can still kind of be or at least play as a rebel. But
and not insincerely, but with less
not
risk
insincerely,
to himself.
but like just doing it because like he wants to, not necessarily because he has to.
Yeah, his life doesn't depend on it like it may used to have. And then it's really about him kind of because the verses, at least the first two, come off as such like a ADHD like rambling, which he even acknowledges in the final line here. So let's just cut to the first verse. Can't keep my hands to myself. Think I'll dust them off, put them back up on the shelf in case my little baby girl is in need. Am I coming out of left field? So yeah, he's saying like he's almost a stream of consciousness, but we're coming in at a weird random moment where he seems to be fidgety, and then he's just like telling us his immediate thoughts. He's like, am I making sense? Am I coming out of left field? Am I all right?
Yeah, kind of saying like it's not in his nature to not do anything. Like he can't completely ignore everything. But right now he needs to like not, because he has other things to worry about. It's other responsibilities. If that makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. He's like, I need to kind of like focus or be available. I can't just be busying my hands because I have a child now.
Yeah.
They might need things from me.
And then like very explicitly said like is that did you expect this to be like that? Do you think this is strange kind of?
Yeah, and I guess coming from the perspective of a rock and roll song, he's also like, is this what you expected to hear? Is this out of left field? I'm a dad.
Yeah.
It's dad rock now.
By definition.
So basically the first verse is just kind of like a loose collection of his current state of mind and current situation. He has a child, he feels fidgety and still like energetic, I guess, which is something we attributed with rebellion. It's a sense of energy, a sense of motion.
Yeah.
Come to the chorus. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still.
Yeah, I was a little curious. Not 100% sure what the years are, other than I think 60s would be associated with social upheaval and lots of like protesting.
Yes, 1966, the year of the first LSD experiments. So that's one layer to this. They talk about it in terms of like rebellion, basically revolution, like what you're talking about. So the LSD experience, the Black Panthers were founded. It's the Woodstock era. Right. The album's called Woodstock.
True.
So they're kind of
layering all that in. So you got your hippies on
in
there, and hippies are big in sort of rock and roll mythology.
Mm-hmm. So that's the 1966 reference. 1986, the Beastie Boys and their hit single "Fight for Your Right to Party."
Okay, so it's kind of what I thought, I guess, which is like not necessarily the delegitimizing, but like the rebellion is a little less like socially conscious in the second example in the 80s.
Yeah. But, that's not to say the Beastie Boys don't have their value.
It's true. I guess I don't know much about the Beastie Boys.
They're Jewish.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So they are an oppressed people, and they always have been. Hopefully won't always be. Shout out to Jewish people. But, so yeah, I think let me kick it like 19... And again, they're talking about the right to party. So he's talking about both the balance of 1966, revolution, power to the people, for a cause, and then 1986, revolution, but for joy, for the sake of party. Fight for Your Right to Party was of course an ironic single when it was released.
Right, I guess so.
But it resonated with the people, and it's that idea of fighting for joy and pleasure. Like, that's also worth fighting for. And since he is a rebel just for kicks, he wants to kick it like 1986. That's kind of, I guess, where his sensibility is at now. So his definition of partying is perhaps the 1966 fighting for the people, power to the people, right on. So he's combining the two to be like, this is I'm doing it frivolously, but for good causes.
So it's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, okay. Combining the good parts about the past.
Mm-hmm.
And making something better. Isn't that what the future should be all about?
That is what it should be all about. And of course, he says both of these time periods are over, but I still feel the effects of them. I still feel the call to revolution, and maybe the LSD itself from 1966. I still feel my crazy party animal spirit of 1986.
Yeah. He's not on the inside. Hasn't really changed. It's just that his circumstances have changed.
Exactly, and those circumstances, expanded upon in verse 2, got another mouth to feed. Leave it with a babysitter. Mama, call the gravedigger. Gone with the fallen leaves. Am I coming out of left field?
Yeah. Is he actually, like, it's talking about death now. We got death.
Yeah, he's basically,
death
and
imagery.
He's talking about his kind of two calls here. One, the call to his child, and also the call to his profession, his music, which, of course, feeds the child, but also keeps him away from the child. So that leave it with a babysitter, and then the next line is Mama, call the gravedigger. He says he's kind of dealing with, like, how much time does he have with his daughter? Like, he's
right,
brought
and he
this
wants
new
to
life
use that
into this
time to the
world.
fullest, but not too much and not too little kind of thing.
Yeah, it harkens to songs like Cats in the Cradle or Forever Young by Bob Dylan, where
Right.
it's a musician grappling with their relationship with their new offspring.
And how do you deal with that from, well, I mean, a lot of rock and roll attitudes like Dead by 27 or like don't care if I'll be alive later or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like
Live
now
fast,
I
die
am,
young.
and I have to deal with other responsibilities because it's the future now.
Mm-hmm. So is he coming out of left field on this one? I'd say no, because there's a kind of a long and storied history of rock and roll fathers writing songs about dealing with their perspective as a rock and roll father.
Not super new. It happens, comes up.
Not
I mean,
new.
you gotta write about what's happening around you, right?
Yeah, you got to write about what's happening around you.
It's wild. Sorry, I'm just thinking like David Bowie has a song about his kid, but it's like a really early album. It's just so weird. Usually it's like a later one, right?
Mm-hmm. And that one's a real different, because a lot of the other ones are like, I'm on the road and I'm sorry, buddy. Please be young forever.
Yeah.
And that one's like, welcome to the family. Here's some things we're going to do. I'm going to take you out. I don't want to fight other dads. Like, we'll go get ice cream if you don't
Don't
like
make me fight anyone, please.
Oh, yeah, please. But you're going to be weird because I'm weird too. Here's some things I've bought for you. Like, it's really like,
it's very like quaint.
Very sweet. It's very quaint.
Yeah.
A beautiful song. But it's a real, like, I'm going to be in your life is the like the key point of that one. Or a lot of the other ones are like, I am so sorry I am not in your life.
Yeah, it's less like regret and more like, hey, this is a new thing that's happening to me. I don't know how it's going to work because, it's just starting, but...
Fatherhood, interesting. Most are on the absentee side. David Bowie took the I'm right here approach, and then in the middle we have Portugal the Man going, am I going to be there? Am I not going to be there? I don't know.
Yeah.
How much time am I going to be there for?
Yeah, because I still got to be a rebel a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
got priorities.
So let's talk about this second chorus, Alex, which is slightly different from the first chorus.
It is a little different.
Basically, I've been feeling it since 1966 now, he says. He said, might have had your fill, but you feel it still.
You can't leave it behind, even though you did stuff. Doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, I thought it was might have had your fill, but I feel it still.
Oh, so be like, you're done, but I'm not done, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not done. You might be through, but I've just begun, kind of thing. But maybe it is you still feel it. So you might think you're done is maybe the sentiment, but can't.
But who knows?
Can't take the tiger out of the jungle,
Yeah.
or rather, you can't take the jungle out of the tiger, kind of thing. And then he says, "Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still."
Yeah.
That's what he said last time. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, let's talk about verse 3. We could fight a war for peace. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Given to that easy living. Goodbye to my hopes and dreams. Start flipping for my enemies. We could wait until the walls come down. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. It's time to give a little to the kids in the middle, but oh, until it falls, won't bother me.
Yeah, this has another... feels like they're talking about, like, sitting back again.
Mm-hmm.
But... And I also did, like... I think when he says fight a war for peace, they mean that it's futile. Like, it's impossible. Like, you can't do that. I believe that's the intention.
It's ironic. You can't fight a war for peace. They had a quote somewhere where they're like, that's like saying you should fuck for virginity, bro. Doesn't fucking make sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Although, I mean, fighting war for peace is probably much more open to debate. But what are you going to do?
No, Alex, it's a yes or no question.
Yes or no question. And then, sit back and give up, basically.
He's saying I could just become another like middle class person now. He's like, I hit it. I've got a kid now. I make some money. I could give into easy living, say goodbye to, my hopes and dreams and things I wanted to do. And this says it stop flipping for my enemies. I thought it was start flipping for my enemies.
Mine says start.
Okay, I'm looking at Google's lyrics now because apparently Genius has taken up a lot of my webpage memory. So
yeah, it honestly could have caused your entire problem.
Could have. So yeah, I'm trying to.
I mean, what problem? This is seamless.
This is seamless editing. Yeah, if you guys notice things seem choppy, it's because my computer shit its pants. But yeah, so start flipping for my enemies. It's like, yeah, I could start being, the man. I could start working for the government or whatever.
Or at least like ignoring the problem and like letting it happen.
Exactly. He could stop rebelling because now, like he said, he's a rebel just for kicks now. He's got no skin in the game. He's above the system.
And just like watch other people do it. But at the same time, like, which is kind of what he's described. But I mean, based on the first line, this verse is like a bit sarcastic.
Yeah.
Because like he's not going to just sit back and watch.
Because
he's still going to be a rebel.
Yeah, he says, so the whole thing is, him being like, well, we could wait until the walls come down, referencing both, of course, the Berlin Wall, and this was during the Trump era of build a wall. So he's like, we could wait for both these walls to come down. And then he says, it's time to give to the kids in the middle. I'm imagining kids in the middle of conflict. But he says, until it falls, it doesn't bother me. It's not my problem. So he's taking a real, like, kind of the everyday person mindset, or it's like, yeah, I could help with these things, but it's not until things actually happen.
Yeah, not really his direct problem.
Yeah, it's not my problem, not my issue. And that's my take on this verse.
Yeah, that's verse 3.
That's verse 3. We come to the bridge. Is it coming? 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 Is it coming back? The 60s, man.
The movement, basically.
Yeah, the revolution. I just watched the movie Under Siege last night.
Okay.
Steven Seagal classic, I believe from the year 1992. The main antagonist in that, this is weird. I did not expect to talk about this now, but it's... So the antagonist in that is played by Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like this like deep military operative who kind of goes a little insane and takes over this battleship to get access to the nuclear warheads on it. But he talks to, he starts making his demands to these military heads. And he's like, they talk about a movement or something. He's like, that's the thing with the movement, man. By definition, it goes to a place and it stops. This is the revolution because it comes back.
Like,
And that,
like when he says revolution, he's talking about literally like spinning
yeah.
because it goes around. Okay.
Yeah, because it's cyclical, right? A revolution, by that definition. So that weirdly enough applies to this context of is it coming back?
Is it coming back? It is if it's a revolution, baby.
If it's the revolution, yeah, I'd say it is. And then we get another weird one, but I think maybe this ties into the perspective, the sort of false identity he takes on in verse 3, coming in this next little verse.
Right.
Or snippet here. He says, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Your love is an abyss for my heart to eclipse now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Whose love?
I thought that was kind of referring to his daughter again. And then it would be like, yeah, obviously, like, you are my priority because that's what my life is. But I still feel the rebellion.
Yeah, I would not. This is me personally. I would not refer to love of a person I am committed to as an abyss.
Yeah, I guess
abyss bears a negative connotation.
It does. It does. I guess the way I thought of it was just like there's no way I could ever love you enough. Like there's no amount of love I could give you that would be sufficient because.
But yet, I that seems to be what his claims his heart is going to do. His heart is going to eclipse it.
It's going to try.
It's going to cover it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
do you have another?
I have another take in that in this person from verse 3 who's given up their hopes and dreams for easy living and their sort of half-baked form of love where they're like, well, it's not my problem. Like, we should give to the kids in the middle, but till something changes, I don't fucking care. He's saying your love is something that my love, essentially, my heart has to now overcome in the act of rebellion. Because yeah, they like don't care or aren't showing it. Yeah, their form of love is malignant, as it were. It's not correct. It's sort of similar to loving the alien, where the twist at the end of the song is the way when you think you're loving the alien, you're not really doing that. He's saying the same thing here. What you think is love is an abyss that it is my goal as a rebel to overcome, to blot out. Yeah, now I have to kind of replace that in the world to have to rewrite balance or whatever. Love. Yeah. So that's my take on it. Yeah. But you could be right in that he's also saying like love is a big responsibility and it does take a lot. It is an abyss. You can't ever love something too much, right? But he's going to try. Yeah, if that's what it is, it's a bit of like a sharp turn back to something they had sort of left behind. Mm-hmm. As opposed to your interpretation, which is more tied into the actual verse that just happened. Yeah, and they didn't have, I'm not on the Genius page, but they didn't have an annotation for it, did they? No, they don't. Just the one about the Rebel Just for Kicks line where he says, it's the first line I wrote. Yeah. Unfortunate, because I feel like that one could use an annotation. Yeah. Because the other thing with Heart and Eclipse is you think a total eclipse of the heart. Of the heart, yeah. So I don't know, vampires? Vampires? Love and vampires? Love and vampires. But yeah, that's the song. Everything after this is more of the same. Yes, just kind of an outro. Kind of an outro. It is an outro. So that's it. So there's coming of age when you're like a teenager kind of coming out on your own. This is like the second form of that. Yeah, it's like coming of middle age kind of thing. Coming of middle age. Yeah, that's what this song reads to me as. Yeah, but not like midlife crisis. Just like changing of priorities, but not changing of who you are. Yeah, staying true to your morals while, and like adapting maintaining to your new integrity, I guess. Yeah. And which, I mean, that's definitely a concern, I think, going into middle age is like, you don't want to abandon your, like, beliefs and values. Oh, yeah. Because it's easy. Mm-hmm. And that's what people promise you. Like, as you get older, you'll be more conservative. You'll be less this and that. Like, so this song sort of refutes that claim. It's like, no, I may not need these to rebel, but I'm still part of the movement. I'm still part of the cause. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in it for the love of the game, baby. Baby. So that's the song. That's its lyrics. Let's talk about the instrumentation, which is pretty simple. Oh, can we? Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a fair amount going on at times. There's a few like elements. The first thing I think I would like to mention is not the beginning of the song,
But you brought it up before that they used the melody from Please Mr. Postman.
Yes.
Which I like read that and it took me a minute to figure out.
I know. I was like, no, they
which
fucking
part
don't.
It is. Like how well is it hidden? But yeah, I mean, ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Does sound like, oh yeah, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Like it
Wait.
yeah. But I did not pick up on that at all.
Yeah, it's strangely like well hidden.
I mean, it's like
For how
the big line of the
it
song.
is. Yeah.
Even though it's not the title line. But it's still, it's not obvious at first listen. The songs don't sound similar.
No.
The rest of the song.
The rest of the song does not, but they have that same melody holding them down. So apparently when they did it, and they're like, okay, we'll keep it, they sent it to their lawyers like ahead of time. They're like, listen, this is Please Mr. Postman. Let us know if there's going to be any issues. Like, we're happy to pay royalty rights on it.
Right.
Just let us know if it's going to be a problem. They're like, nah, guys, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. And then, like, as it came close to release some weeks later, the lawyers were like, you guys know this is just Please Mr. Postman, right? And they're like, yeah, we told you that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Lawyers, man.
Lawyers. Do you know if they had to pay royalties or anything?
I think maybe. You have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, they admitted, like, yeah, it's public knowledge that they just used the same melody, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you've got to pay for referencing Bob Dylan in the Hootie and the Blowfish song, like,
yeah.
Only Want to Be With You, that's the name of it, then yeah, you gotta pay the Marvelettes what they're due.
Yeah, or however, I mean, I don't know if it's
the
still
Marvelettes
around.
estate, yeah, whoever's got the rights.
But the rest of the song. What does the rest of the song sound like? There's a few things. I mean, the bass intro, yeah. Pretty distinctive. Like, I was talking to my roommates, the ones that weren't sick, and yeah, as soon as I brought up the song, and they were like, I think I know Portugal the Man, but I don't know if I know that song. Like, and then, you play it, and immediately it's like, oh, yeah. Because it was a pretty big hit. People heard it. It's on the radio for a while. It was massive.
I was working at Calgary Stampede that year, and it was one of the songs they used for the Super Dogs performance, which was like right beside the tent I was working in. So I would hear like this sob story about a dog named Volcha who like lived in the Russian fucking slums for 20 years or whatever, and now can do backflips. And then it's like, and now Feel It Still. Everybody loses their fucking mind
with backflips.
Yeah,
but yeah. That's the
it was
intro.
Everywhere.
We recognize that boom, 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 boom. Good bass line.
Yeah, good, simple, catchy. That's really what this song kind of relies on.
Yeah, and it has a few things that are like novel. Like it introduces more elements, but it has like different parts that have that catchiness.
Yeah.
Which I think works.
It's little small builds too, so the drums change up a little bit as the lyrics come in. Then we get some hand claps in after the first line, and so it's a subtle build up as we get to the horns and Mr. Postmanus of the chorus.
Mr. Postmanus. Yes, vocals pretty high also.
Very high.
Want to mention that? That's all.
And you get these weird, like, I think it's people doing it. Could be an instrument, but doing those like, oh, those big vocal punches.
Yeah, I don't know if I noticed those.
Oh, they're there, Alex. They're like little accents. I think it's even how the song ends, isn't it? It ends like, I can feel it still. Oh,
yes, it does end like that.
Yeah,
it does have that. Okay, so that happens throughout. I guess I missed it.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
But there's a lot of like layers too, like even on I don't know if it's a different person on the vocals. Now this is in the chorus. Once we get to the chorus, though, and then it kind of like doubles up on the vocals.
Yeah,
but it's pretty quiet. Like there's a lot of stuff that is quiet. They also have like horns, which I think would be synthesizer, but I don't really know. That's what I expect.
I'm not sure.
My expectation. And they kind of have like some like sounds and stuff. There's a sound because the chorus is really just repeated, right? Repeat the lines. So between that, there's like a sound. It almost sounds like bubbles popping or possibly like hitting something dull.
You can even hear that in the start with the bass intro. I don't know if it's just an effect on the bass, but there's like a a bubbliness of some kind.
Oh yeah, is that just the bass? Because the bass does have that kind of echo.
Yeah. So it could just be that the bass has been echoed and you're getting that kind of, just the attack kind of echoed out.
Yeah, that might actually be what that is. Just artifacts, man.
Yeah, just artifacts.
Audio
There's like
artifacts.
some minimal guitar in the chorus that's just like, no, like just very small elements that come in. And they're very happy and will constantly take away instruments. So like for the first line of the second verse, we get basically an instrumental break. Got another mouth to feed, and then everything jumps back in.
Yeah, and there's that like sci-fi fast synthesizer thing.
Yeah.
And more like ambient sweeps and stuff. Pretty common in music these days. Ambient synth sweeps.
Ambient synth sweeps. We'll sure see some of those in these covers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, buddy.
And again, like you said, it cuts out again at the end of the second verse. A little drum roll into silence.
Yeah.
Get back into the chorus.
You're right in that they do layer in a lot of elements here, but it's one of those songs where it's very small elements. It's like, here's a little extra thing, here's a little tiny thing on top.
Yeah, so then by the end, like you've built quite a bit, but you didn't really necessarily notice it happening.
Mm-hmm. And that second verse is, I think, or is it the second chorus where we get that downward guitar pattern? That do-no-no-no-no-no-no-no.
Yeah, I think it first happens in the chorus. I was trying to listen and I kept getting distracted, but that was the first time I remember hearing it. Which is another, like I said, kind of the novel element, which is not even, I didn't realize it was, like, doesn't come in for a while, and it's not even that big a part of the song, but the that, like, walk down thing on guitar is a pretty significant part of the song.
Yeah, it is.
But it doesn't happen that much.
No, it happens, like, 2 or 3 times, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, I think it was a couple more at the end, like, during the outro.
Yeah, I think
thinking of that.
The outro has a lot of the, like, parts you remember.
Yeah, things come back.
And of course, the third verse plays with these sort of whispery backup vocals. Yeah,
it's kind of like that. Also happens in the chorus before it, but yeah, it's like a kind of digitized too. So you get this harmony. Other line saying like some of the big, on Rebel Just for Kicks and the big lines.
Mm-hmm. Just for kicks now.
Oh yeah,
that kind of thing.
Rebel just for kicks now.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, we could have recorded the song
easily. There's another part I should have. I think it's after the bridge, the "Is It Coming" section, which is of course another sort of breakdown section.
Yeah.
But after that,
Loki.
At like 1:59, there's like cartoonish laughter.
Hang on, I gotta listen for that. Oh, there is. I don't know if that's actually laughter, but it does kind of sound like it. Could just be like a synthesizer doing like but it does sound like a witch laughing.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like Grunty from Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah. And I mean, you never know. Sometimes these things could just be in there.
That's true, yeah.
They're the right age.
Yeah, they're prime for that. I don't know how much video games they got up in Alaska.
Yeah, how much they fly in. Not that they're from Juneau.
No, they're from somewhere else.
Starts with a W.
Starts with it's like I should have wrote that down.
Wasilla.
Probably did write it down. Yeah, that's the one.
Wasilla. Anyway, and then this part, we talked about it, they got the like kind of extended chorus for the last chorus, which I think is kind of cool because like we haven't seen that sort of thing that much where you like add on to the beginning of the chorus on the last repetition,
Right.
Which is a cool move, especially because like you're building and yeah, it makes sense that your last chorus would be bigger and why not add on to the beginning of the chorus?
Yeah.
In the last one. And you were talking about, I mean, the chorus doesn't have it so much, but the song kind of has a sense of like just dropping in on a thought.
Yeah.
So it's like now we just add a little bit more to the beginning of that.
Yeah, you punch that in. Of course, the chorus, this is it's under the 3:05. We're at 2 minutes 43 seconds.
Yeah, it's under the 3.
Yeah, it's under the 3. This is a real like pop song by way of songs like Please Mr. Postman, which are usually 2 minutes, 30 seconds, mostly chorus, catchy as hell. That's what this one is.
Yeah. And some of those early songs, I don't know exactly, but I think some of it was just because like the records couldn't hold
just
as much
limitations.
information in the early days. That didn't make them as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
yeah, this plays into that
it is.
realm.
It
So you
is
get a
very
ton of
poppy.
chorus.
Yeah.
But then you do get a very distinct finish.
Yeah, well, I think that as part of the song, like the song can be kind of busy at times. Although we talked, there's a simplicity to it, but like a lot of the elements that are the busyness are like kind of quiet, and there's enough like novel things that you can latch onto. Mostly that bass line, but also the you know, the guitar riff that doesn't happen that much.
That doesn't happen that much. You get the horns that support sort of that lower end. You know, there's not too much of anything in here.
Yeah.
And you're right that it changes up enough that when something comes back, you're like, oh, that thing's back. Oh, there's a new element. It stays interesting the whole 243.
Yeah. Which is not a huge amount of time to stay interesting for, but it does it.
No,
so,
but it does it. It knows when to leave is
yeah.
an important thing. And that's what the song sounds like.
But yeah, that's it. That's the song. But what does it look like?
What does it look like? It looks like a music video. Let me tell you that. Now, Alex, this music video was initially released as an interactive.
I didn't do the interactive version.
I did.
Okay. Can you like look around or just click on things?
No, so it's done poorly.
VR?
I think. I think the idea is so you really have to just be wiggling your mouse over it at all times to see if something lights up, and then you click it. And then it'll be like, fucking educate children or something, or like fund this thing. And then at the end of the video, you can take a look at all the links that you found. There's 30 links in there. And the ones you click are like images loosely related to it.
But it's like movements or revolutions or
social
or charities
and
or
causes and like things you can do to be more environmentalist. So yeah, some of it's environmentalism, some of it is like
social
rights
justice
movements, social justice. Some of it's just like general political know-how, things like that. Like, you know, contact your alderman about shit or whatever it is. So they called it their hashtag resist toolkit. So I think the idea could have been done better if in the interactive version things were highlighted without me having to put in the manual movement so that I know to click on things and get the information.
Yeah, I didn't look. I saw that existed, but I didn't actually look at it. And I thought maybe it would be like VR or something. VR music video where you could reach out and touch things.
And I think it plays into the idea of it, the interactive video and the idea of building this organization of rebellion plays into this song's sort of underlying theme of a mature rebellion. Being more mature, you know, you're a father now. The rebellion is less immature. It's more organized. It's more about
It's less like kids
results.
in a basement and more like actual organizations.
Exactly. So I think that is a good take. I like that they did it, but I think the execution of it could be a little bit.
Yeah. It's like who's actually going to seek out that version of it, and then who's going to participate.
Well, I imagine it was big in the time it was released.
I suppose.
But yeah, now it's sort of, and some of the links are dead on like.
But also, like, how many people are doing it on a desktop versus like on a phone, right? Like, how does it work
exactly,
on a phone?
right? Oh,
sounds like it wouldn't work very well on a phone.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, cool concept. But let's talk about what happens in this music video, which is like a bunch of stuff, bunch of imagery.
Yeah, a lot of imagery, pretty cool looking imagery, and I think the idea, for the most part, is kind of showing that difference between the being older, but also the things that you did when you were younger.
Right, because we open up with him, one walking through a junkyard, a scrapyard for cars, or walking to it.
Yeah.
One of them, of course, being an American flag, which, can't get much more obvious than that.
Yeah.
in terms of symbolism.
Yep.
And then him watching cartoons on a TV at some house party.
Right. Very like...
In a pool full of cereal?
Oh, I actually didn't... Yeah, he is in a pool, which, I mean, yeah, that's definitely like associated with children. Watching cartoons and eating cereal.
See, a lot of it is him walking around this party. We see this woman in a red shirt singing some of the lines.
Who I think is one of the band members.
Yeah,
Zoe
sure.
Manville.
Zoe Manville.
Which I believe means that she's the mother of the little girl in the song.
Okay.
I think. I actually haven't confirmed that, but that's
Hey,
I
sure.
believe that's the case.
I'll believe it, Alex.
I didn't just say that out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure I read that, but now I'm second guessing myself. No, confidence. Yeah, definitely true.
Definitely true. Okay.
And yeah, she mouths the lyrics.
Yeah.
And there's
So
a topless Barbie, which I thought was a mermaid at first, but now I see the other leg. The problem is they're camo pants.
Right, so you can't
So it's
actually
easy
see the
to
legs.
miss.
That's right. Yeah, this is like a real like Alaskan fucking backwoods
Yeah,
party.
it's like a very wooden building, like wooden floorboards, like old kind of cracked wooden floorboards and like lights. So, I mean, I've never been to Alaska, but I imagine this is what all the bars look like.
Yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure, what every building looks like in Alaska.
And they're just kind of dancing, and he's wearing socks with his sandals and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So then, yeah, we got a guy blowing on a blunt. I assume it's a blunt. It could just be a cigar. Yeah, so for example, this moment where he pushes on this guy and then gets punched out.
And just fucking dies.
Yeah, it just fucking dies. So what that moment, you click on the thing and it says, like, have difficult conversations. And so some of the imagery is, like, loosely connected to the things you're clicking on, yeah.
Or
so I think the video was built with those in mind. Yeah, he dies, becomes an outline. And then we're in the dark here, and we eventually get to the dark car yard again. But it's nighttime instead of daytime.
Yeah,
Eventually.
and then he dances and stuff. But you also see, like, there's some people, like, well, I mean, I was going to say making out in the car, but they might be having sex in the car. I don't know.
I believe
it could just be making out in the car. It's
sex.
It's steamy. They're steaming up the window.
Because that's definitely a click moment. Yeah, so when this guy on a sax first, before we get to the sex.
Oh yeah, I
missed
missed the sax.
You click on him and it's like support undocumented artists or something like that. So
okay.
This video is like a loose collection of images that call to specific causes of the time. And probably still, I mean, this was only 5 years ago, so probably still relevant. Quite a few of them.
So they're steaming up the car.
And then we get a shot of the suits on motorbikes.
Yeah, who they might be a rabbi and a minister. I'm pretty sure there's a yarmulke on.
Oh, that guy does look like he's wearing a yarmulke.
So that's why I say that. And yeah, they're on like choppers. So some imagery showing like older people, but with like things associated with rebellion.
Yeah, but then one of them flips the people off afterwards.
He does. But he also might be like a faker kind of thing. Like
he might be co-opting the imagery. Tell me, is that soldier with the baby mask jacking off?
Do you have a timestamp?
1:27.
He is kind of shaking his arm. It's possible.
Yeah.
But there is a guy in a baby mask just kind of dancing.
Yeah.
Or maybe masturbating.
Yeah, moving.
Dancing later for
sure. And then he eventually dances, yeah. We get a different baby mask, I think.
And there's also a pig mask. There's a lot of like wacky stuff going on.
Yeah.
Snowing at one point.
We got some old news on televisions.
Yeah, old like tube monitors, CRT stuff happening.
And then suddenly we shift to some people of color singing it instead of Gorley over here.
Yeah. And then at the end, actually, no, I'm not quite at the end.
We got to talk about the InfoWars on fire.
Yeah.
So you get a Sikh guy holding up a newspaper. I think it's actually Sikh.
Okay, I guess I've always said Sikh, but I guess I don't know. I've now realized.
Because I remember hearing people say, well, it's not actually Sikh, it's Sikh.
Okay.
But we say Sikh because we think, because when we say Sikh, it might actually even be both. Looking at I don't read fucking phonetic pronunciation, so I'm here looking at the Wikipedia.
I feel like we should spell it differently in English if that's the pronunciation. But I guess it's...
Well, it's not like there's a fucking Q in there, Alex. It's
true. True. I guess that depends on your dialectic pronunciation or whatever. Dialectic? Yeah. That might not be the right word.
Let me hit the Google pronunciation.
Yeah.
So British people pronounce it Sikh. What about you Americans? Also Sikh. Oh, listen, dog. I'm out here just trying to be extra woke.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, he's burning a thing.
He's burning and it's a newspaper that says Infowars on it. Infowars, of course, being the quote-unquote news publication of Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Who saw this, got upset about it, and called Portugal the Man pro-Soros. A pro-Soros band, Soros being...
George Soros.
Yeah, what's his deal?
He's allegedly, like... There's some conspiracy theories about him, like, maybe controlling or trying to control the world. I actually don't know the specifics. I think a big part of it is, like, he's Jewish, and, like, they don't like that.
Yeah.
He's wealthy. And maybe, I don't know what the allegations are, honestly.
Right, so it's anti-Semitism bundled up in conspiracy theory. Nothing new there. Yeah, so call him pro-Soros and also a communist band based on this.
I mean... Is that an insult?
It is when you're Infowars.
I guess that's the idea. It's like, maybe, I don't know.
It's like, yeah. But apparently this is just a friend of theirs. This is just a guy they know, and they're like, hey, you want to be in the music video? He's like, yeah, sure. They're like, here, hold this newspaper. So
and he just set it on fire. Yeah, cool.
But yeah, of course, Alex Jones also took offense to it being a person of color burning up the newspaper. So.
Yeah, I mean, he takes offense to a lot of things, but that's kind of his deal. So
yeah,
he shouts about stuff.
But yeah, just a fun little controversy that arose from this video. And that's like most of the imagery here. We kind of rotate through it. You said there was something about the ending, Alex?
Well, just that like once the music cuts out, they're watching a TV
and it says fight back, fight back.
Fight back.
So mature TV watching.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't specifically know what it's footage of, but it's clearly like a protest.
It's still that 1930s cartoon he's watching at the beginning.
Yeah. Yep, it's just that's how things were in the 1930s with like fucking Betty Boop or whatever.
Yeah, Betty Boop telling you to fight back. Boop boopy doop, fight back. Is that what she sounds like? I don't know.
Beats me.
Beats me. But you know what, Alex? We got cover versions to talk about.
We do. We have a lot of cover versions. Even though my recording says it's been an hour, it hasn't been an hour. Because we stopped for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm at the 55-minute mark, and that'll be like...
We stopped for like 5 minutes.
Stop for about 5 minutes. Let's talk about Zhu in 2017.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still.
Yep, let's talk about Zhu. Same artist who did those remixes for the Pokemon 25 album.
Oh, that's where I recognize the name.
His full name is Stephen Zhu.
That's right.
And according to his Wikipedia page, he's been active since the beginning of 2014 and remained anonymous until mid-2014, which doesn't seem like that long to me.
Yeah, that's just called nobody knew who you were.
Yeah, but he wanted to be judged on only his music.
Right.
But yeah, it seemed like they did the reveal pretty quick, if that was your intention.
Yeah. It's funny because a New York Times, I think, quote, compares him, it says he might be like the next Daft Punk.
Yes,
New York Observer.
New York Observer. Don't know who they are.
And then, yeah, he was anonymous for all of maybe 6 months.
Yeah. So, cool. Seems to kind of, like, he doesn't cover up his face, but he's got, like, sunglasses and, like, he tilts his hat down in this one picture I've seen of him. So,
okay.
I don't know if that's intentionally kind of covering up his face or not.
Yeah, hard to say.
But it's a remix. It's a remix version.
That's correct.
So lots of synths, lots of layers, and it does use the original vocal part, but it like speeds it up.
That's right.
So it's fast, but it's longer because there's like dancey sections.
Dancey sections, and he chops up. He really focuses on the "might be over now, but I feel it still" lines.
Yeah, a lot of repetition there, which I guess that's the title. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I think it's a good focal point for it in terms of a remix. Focus on the feel it still.
But it's quite different because like the bass line is all different, all new like synth riff and stuff, and it really focuses on this one short guitar riff, very short like loop of a guitar riff.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, even with the, like it kind of like rakes it, like it does like a slower strum.
Yeah.
Kind of loops that the whole time or most of it.
Yeah, for most of it, it gets lowered in the mix.
Cuts out a bit when there's like a synth solo.
Yeah, so there's almost like that blues rake. I'm calling it a blues rake because
Sure.
I feel like it sounds bluesy. I feel like the guitar sounds like it's trying to, in the same way that the original song grabs a melody from 1960 to anchor the chorus, he's trying to anchor the song a bit with a kind of bluesier guitar riff.
Okay.
Because I think the approach that people should take with this, I'm giving a theory of what would make a good cover of this song, because frankly, some of these covers this week I'm not that impressed with, but I think pulling on older styles of music is what the song demands.
Because it's kind of about the past and the present coming together.
Yeah.
I don't really pick up on the blues thing.
I might be stretching with this one. Other ones will have a more obvious call to that era.
Yeah, there's definitely some further throwbacks. But yeah, I didn't love this one. I don't know. Just because like the original, like I said, has like a couple like novel things it does that are like kind of keep it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't find this one as interesting in its like small pieces.
Yeah, I think there's less variation. It goes on just about a minute longer, right?
Yeah.
So you've given us a less exciting version that is also removed from the core of the two things: one, rebellion, and two, fun. Like the first version is also fun. Like the original is a fun song.
True.
Because you're a rebel for kicks.
That is true.
Whereas this one it goes for a little darker edge on it. Like that bass line is boom, dum dum dum. Like it's playing on the heavy end, but so we miss out on the funness, and we're missing out on the energy of rebellion.
I mean, that makes sense to me because it definitely backs up my thoughts about this. So,
well, sure. That's what we're here to do.
I'm on board.
I like they reference the downward pattern, and they got a little digital synth on it in this. Sounds pretty cool.
that is a cool sound. Does that a couple times. And I was thinking about, I watched, there's like an interview with Paul McCartney on Disney Plus, McCartney 1, 2, 3.
Right.
I've been watching. He was talking about speeding up tracks and how like if they sped it up with this one way, it would shift everything up an octave. I guess double the speed, probably. I assume. It's just funny because I was thinking about this, and now they did this, and it's like speeding it up, but not like hugely shifting the pitch and making it sound like chipmunks.
Right.
I don't know, man. Technology.
In fact, yeah, sometimes they speed it up and then pitch it down.
Yeah, which is like it's like cool. That's true. They do have some down pitched ones, but it's mostly up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of all I have for this one because that's all I got out of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if they focused on what I'm saying, bring the '60s back into it, and maybe 1986 as well, you'd get a better remix going on. I think it was servable, and it's 2017. So this is the same year the song came out.
Yeah, like right after.
Yeah, it's probably remixed pretty quick. So, yeah, not bad, all things considered, but not standout. Here's some standout music for you, though, Alex. Revelries and Henri Purnell in 2018.
I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. I can feel it still.
Revelries and Henri Purnell. Yeah. Is Revelries a production duo from Dubai that are based in the Netherlands?
That's correct.
That's
Dubaian music duo.
What I got. I wasn't sure who... Henri Purnell, I mean, I actually did look him up, kind of like... He has a lot of like stuff on Instagram and stuff.
He's like a true Zoomer. He does arts and crafts and also
like
music.
Very active on social media for... self-promotion. That's how it goes. I guess he does have quite a bit of information. Strategically driving their career to maximum. In times in which crafty pop stars with cheap PR vocabulary are strategically driving their career to maximum, even the greatest idealists find it increasingly difficult to fully believe in the integrity of an artist who pretends to just be a super spreader of good vibes.
It's not a good time to be talking about super spreaders, Henry Purnell.
I mean, that's got to be why they put it, right? Are they just like happened to say super spreader? I don't think so.
English is not his first language. He's from Munich. Tough
to know.
Tough to know
anyway,
for sure.
He's an idealist.
He wants to reach people with his music, though, yeah, and try to make them happy with his songs.
What I thought this was, after the last one, was another remix where they actually pitched the vocals down. But it's not. It's his vocals, but he's kind of seems to have pitched them down.
Well, yeah, particularly in the start there.
Well, definitely at the start. And I don't know, maybe he just sings that low. I didn't look him up. It would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I will say there is such an alteration even on his regular vocals that I don't know if he's a good singer or not.
I mean, that's kind of the style these days, especially with these social media types, right? Like, it's very polished. Everything is sanded down. That's just kind of I mean, not even just with them, but it's more obvious with them because they don't have, as much access to the, really, really good producers because...
Sure. I don't know if this is so much polish, because I know the sanding down approach to me, but this is just like altered for to achieve a non-human sonic effect.
Yeah, I guess.
Rather than to come off as more musically skilled than you are. Yeah.
Because it is like a not being passed off as just he's really good.
Yeah, it's not like you said, it has that kind of down pitch on it the whole time, but it's less than right in that intro.
Yeah.
It's almost like he is, like a half robot person. Like half of his face is metal and the other half
he's the next Daft
flesh. He might be the next Daft Punk. But that, yeah, so like I cannot gauge the vocals here. I will say in the context, I think they serve I think they serve fine. I think they're doing okay here.
Yeah, yeah.
This one is sort of, it's basically just trot pop, isn't it? Yeah.
It gets very trot poppy. They whistle the melody.
Now, is the whistle, is that a move from 2018? I feel like I've heard it in other pop tracks of that era.
I don't know.
I asked Greta about this, and she couldn't really pin anything down
only
either.
Because, like, whistling has been a thing in
for
songs.
all time.
Throughout history, but I don't know if there was a trend in 2015. Yeah, since we found birds and we're like, I wonder if I can do that.
It just kind of, like, something hit with me where I was like, I've heard this exact same, like, we got the trot pop synths and we got the whistle in the back here.
I think they kind of go together.
Yeah, I think there's something about it that goes together.
I agree with you. I wish I could think of something off the top of my head because that sounds true to me. But I can't, like, back it up.
Yeah, the closest example I could think of is that they whistle in Pumped Up Kicks, but that's like 2010.
Yeah,
so that's
a bit earlier.
Yeah, just a touch. And also that it's not a trop pop hit, so it doesn't really play into my thesis here.
Yeah.
But I will say this, whistling, it's got some old school vibe to it. I think it sounds great in this.
Whistling is a little old school. Pretty solid whistle going on. It's actually not that difficult to whistle.
Speak
which
for
is
yourself,
good.
Alex.
I mean, if you know how to whistle, it's not too difficult to pick this one up.
This segment is not hard to whistle if you know how to whistle. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not saying whistling is easy. I would not say whistling is easy.
Birds do it.
Fucking birds do it. Why can't you? I didn't learn to whistle until I was 27. So
okay,
26.
That's fair. Okay, Alex. 21, 2. You whistled at 2. All right. We get it.
I've been whistling since I was, could breathe.
That's right.
It's the first thing I did was I whistled. Instead of crying, the doctor slapped me and I started whistling. It just shifts the structure around a little bit, just a little bit. In that it shifts the chorus out from between the second and third verses and just kind of like melds those together a bit, and then does extra. Well, the whistling part kind of does an extra chorus basically before the second verse. So
that's right.
A little different structure, but overall it like stays pretty like stripped down and kind of like that ambient sound, like you were saying. It works with the way the vocals are done because it's all kind of bizarre and spacey, and troppy.
And yeah, and troppy once we hit the verse. The trop pop drop of the synth is almost a surprise.
Yes, it's not from the start, but it comes in and it's like makes sense. So it like works fine in that aesthetic. It definitely commits to the aesthetic.
Yeah. And I think a trouble that people run into with this song, some of the covers, is that I don't think they know what the song is about.
Yeah, because it's easy to hear as just a bunch of word salad.
Mm-hmm. And so I think by roboticizing his voice a bit, we do get to take some of the weight out of those vocals, which I think plays to their advantage here.
Because they don't need to support
They don't need to support it. And you punch the lines that sound tight. You get the break around "I Can Feel It Still," and we go like, "Oh yeah," and then the whistle comes in. You're like, "This is sick."
Yeah.
But we're going to talk in a couple versions about somebody who just puts a whole lot of heart into nothing. But yeah, I thought this one was kind of cool. I feel like a little formulaic, a little just of the 2018 era with that trop pop drop. But
yeah, I mean, it didn't light my world on fire. I was like fine with this one, but there's some that I just was like not liking. But this was like not. It wasn't those.
This one was pleasant.
This one was all right.
You want to talk about sanding down, though, Alex? Let's talk about Pentatonix in 2018.
We know the Pentatonix.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Got another mouth to feed.
Or
like
just
the
Pentatonix.
acapella group.
Yeah, they're a very popular acapella group. They do a lot of covers and a lot of Christmas albums specifically.
A lot of Christmas albums.
But this is neither of them. Well, I mean, it is one of those actually. It is a cover.
It is a cover. All your acapella classics are here. A little ba-doom, 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 ba-doom.
Yep. Bass guy. They do some clapping and snapping. Maybe
Clapping and snapping.
I don't know actually if it's both, but one of those things. Body percussion, hand percussion, but not hand drums.
Hand percussion, but not hand drums.
Just slapping your hand or hands.
Something that birds can't do. Suck it, birds.
That's what music is all about. Showing up birds.
Oh, we're trying to one-up birds.
That's why music was invented. I would say generally about this version, it's just a very straightforward acapella cover. Like, sounds like an acapella version of "Feel It Still."
Yeah, to me, nothing delineates this or distinguishes this from collegiate acapella.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the production, but they have that more and more in the collegiate acapella. So, yeah.
Yeah, here's some other things I'll say. Drum guys always get a bit of respect from me because
beatboxing is cool.
Yeah, beatboxing is cool. It's, at least that has other uses.
Yeah.
I guess not that singing doesn't, but rather you're like, we need a boom, ba-doom, ba-doom guy on the track. It's just not something that comes up.
Yeah.
I think their strong point here is the "Is It Coming" section, the bridge.
Their bridge, yeah, because they do like a canon and it starts to bring back some of the old stuff, which is kind of thematically appropriate in terms of talking about the past, because the old things coming back. But yeah, they're doing like the bridge and the chorus and the verse kind of all on top of each other.
Yeah, and then they come together on the "Might Have Had Your Fill, I Can Feel It Still." And then we get a drum fill from the guy. That's good.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like acapella. That section is solid. Give me the rest with that level of energy. This is an energetic song, but what we get is like a sanded down, like bare minimum fucking Pentatonix cover.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on here. There's a few like little bits of like acapella things. There's moments where they're like ba 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 ba, but it's like not too much, because if they just did that in the middle of a verse and that was the main focus, it would be very cheesy.
Yeah.
But it's little bits on the end of lines, but it's not much really to me.
Yeah, especially because with acapella you have the ability to harken back to, again, like nostalgic music, like 50s, 60s. The Marvelettes themselves are group singers.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, there might be more versions that do this because there's quite a few covers of this, but you'd think those are the acapella group would be the ones to do the like "Please Mr. Postman" style version of this song,
Yeah, give me that, or give me like a doo-wop version in acapella.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. And now I'm regretting this. There is actually a Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox cover, but I didn't put it on because I never put those on.
Yeah.
It's a rule of mine.
And yet
But it might have
that's
actually
kind of
been
what we're
good to
asking
put it
for.
on. This is kind of what we're asking for. And it seems to be what the song demands. But fuck Scott Bradley.
Yeah.
Fuck Pentatonix. Here comes Alyssa Reid.
Comes
2018.
Alyssa Reid.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Be over now, but I feel it still.
Canadian singer-songwriter from Edmonton.
That's right.
Apparently
Born in
she was
Edmonton.
born in Edmonton.
She was raised in like Ontario somewhere.
Yeah.
Hamilton, I think.
Apparently was on a talent show called The Next Star, which was on YTV. Which I think I kind of remember happening. Because
I
it was like
it.
only because, well, I mean, it was early, but like there were a lot of like American Idol was huge at first, and there was like a Canadian Idol, and obviously American Idol itself was a spin-off from a European version.
Mhm.
But you know, the talent show thing became popular for a hot minute.
That's right.
I mean,
And
it
then
still is
everybody needed
popular,
to
but it
have
was
their-
like everywhere, and I
Yeah.
think I vaguely remember that happening, but I never watched it. It was just like a younger version of the singing talent show.
Yeah. And this is like
she was on
she was on it, and she's kind of done okay for herself, I guess, from there.
Yeah.
She briefly adopted the moniker Ashes, ASHS, all capitals. I don't know if you're supposed to say it as Ashes or if you're supposed to say it a different way, but
Ashe? She's not French.
yeah, she briefly operated under that. This is like a real like soft indie cover. It kind of reminds me of some of the tracks off of the Pokemon 25 album, weirdly enough. Like Wonderful a bit, and that one about going to the art show.
Oh yeah. It's very close mic, which made me
Yeah.
think of like I guess I would say Billie Eilish, but I think at this point in time it would have been like a Lana Del Rey thing.
Okay.
I think if
This would've
I'm
been
remembering my
right
things
around the
right.
time Eilish was coming out, right? 2018 was
Yeah,
Bad Guy?
yeah, I think she would have had some stuff, but I think it would have been this would have been a bit early. I think.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel weird because like I was reading the description of her, and it said that she has a singular vocal style, which I was listening to her other songs,
Right.
and I don't know if that's true, but this kind of EP has this particular sound to it, and her other
Right.
stuff sounds quite different
Okay, interesting.
in terms of how she's actually singing. This is like her close mic EP.
Right.
Anyway, thought that was kind of interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a very like soft indie kind of pop vibe on it. Sort of
Yeah,
closer
well,
to
lots
dream
of
pop.
synth.
Yeah.
I would even say it's approach like a lot of the sounds I would say are chill, but I don't
Yeah.
think it is overall. Just because mostly the drums are a little heavy for chill.
I would say so, and the just the attack and decay on the synth is very bouncy.
It does have a bounce to it, but it's also like the sound itself is kind of a dullness to it.
It's
I think
soft and dull. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
that. I mean, it's approaching chill, but I don't think it is that.
Yeah,
close.
it's like it's not chill, but it's yeah, you're right. It's adjacent to it.
Yeah.
I found this version kind of similar to Revelries one, but for different reasons. Mildly pleasant, not overwhelmingly like wow, but I was like,
Yeah.
that's kind of nice.
Not something that'll blow you away, but it's like it's got some decent synth sounds on it, and like also kind of based around. Well, I guess this is more similar to the Jus version, but like based around a short riff that it repeats throughout. It has like a bass synth that just plays like dum dum dum
Dun, dun.
dum
Yeah,
dum dum. That pretty much is playing the whole time,
yeah, that's pretty much it.
and then like a staccato synth that plays a little higher.
Yeah, and then we get like synth sweeps into different sections.
Yeah, so like again, I feel like I don't know, and maybe it's just because I'm constantly comparing it to the original, but the original had these like novel things that you could really latch onto, and thus far we haven't really had another version that
Yeah,
does something with that. Even though they've actually changed it quite a bit, they haven't like maintained that level of
Mhm.
novelty.
I think they really have kind of missed the heart of the song, which I think is also hard to glean from the original. But like the idea of rebellion is really at the core of it. It's not like what the chorus line just suggests, that it's just a fun, playful song. There's theoretically a little grit behind it. It asks some big questions, and it has, like, the original has big energy delivery and builds in it. And people seem to
these more
forget that.
laid back stuff is missing out on that.
Yeah, we really take the fire out of the word rebel here, right? It's there's like that's a weighted word. You can't just chuck out rebel and be like, well, it's chill to be a rebel. It's like there's energy to it. It's kinetic. It's the revolution, man. It comes around.
Comes back around.
And we're coming back around to some Hannah Dorman in 2018.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Not been feeling this since 1966 now. Might be over now, but
Hannah Dorman. Yeah, so this is the slow guitar version. Oh, also, Hannah Dorman is from the UK.
Yeah,
another like
London.
YouTuber, TikTok performer.
Apparently discovered by Universal on a playlist, at least in 2017. I don't know if we've ever talked about over singing the way we're about to talk about it now, but holy shit.
Yeah, this turns it into a lament.
Yeah.
She's really, and she does that thing in her lines where she like kind of squeaks.
Yeah.
Keep my hands to myself. Yeah, she's really singing, really going for it. And I tend to not like this style of cover, this sort of, slow, sad acoustic cover.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what it is.
Sure, yeah.
But did I find there were a couple things about this version I liked.
I found some good moments in here.
Mostly some of the guitar.
Yes.
When it's not just strumming, I liked those moves. And actually the recording itself is like, I would say lo-fi, but I think it's just like not as professional and polished.
Mm-hmm.
Which I kind of liked. Just the sound, because like it sounded kind of raw, you know?
Yes, and I think that's something that the song supports and like gives room to.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, it was kind of not an interesting version.
Kind of not an interesting one. And it really, with that over singing, like we'll talk about the Jus version or the Revelries and Henri Purnell, where the vocals are there, but they're moved through at such a pace that you don't have time to think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you go like, Hannah, I don't know if you know what you're saying means, because I'm listening to the words, I'm listening to the presentation of it, and there is no connecting fiber. There's nothing to suggest any actual meaning behind it.
Yeah, other than like she's sad about something. It doesn't seem to quite match up.
She's pushing on a pull door with all of her might, and it's just like,
I'm like,
no
she's
motion.
trying. You can respect that,
tell.
but it's like, you kind of started out wrong.
Yeah.
In the wrong place.
But I do like, like you said, the non-basic guitar. I like that. And again, to think about the Revelries version, if you brought in a little whistling on this, we'd have something.
That might help.
That might help a little bit. But yeah, that's your two big things on this. Is overall not very good. Some of the guitar stuff pretty good.
Yeah.
Next version by CUBOT Records and Max Göttler?
I don't know how to pronounce it. He's like German or something.
Yeah, 2019. He's German. So the CUBOT Records is also German. They're a musician network founded in 2017. They create rock and acoustic covers and kind of team up with, I guess, local musicians to do the vocal parts.
Yeah, and they have a line in there about like not wanting to produce, or what do they say?
They claim to tackle
generic pop songs, and it's like, why would you fight generic pop songs when making generic acoustic covers?
Yeah.
Or rock and roll covers.
Or generic, which this one does unfortunately fall into just being very generic rock.
Yeah. I guess, were there some things about this one that I thought was okay?
I think they have
drums,
a great...
kind of like the drums.
Yeah, drums are good. I think they have a good sense of building energy, but they have no sense on delivering a climax. They have all of these hype up moves right off the bat. That boom on the guitar. Like they're like, okay, we're gonna get you hyped up.
Very like overdriven on the guitar.
Yeah. Immediately we have energy here, which good call, boys. This is an energetic song. But what the original delivers is a chorus that gives you that release. We get the horns come in. We sit into the melody of Mr. Postman. We have something. Here, we just continue that build. Like, it's actually the same guitar going through that chorus. And then, like, organ comes in to, like, also punch it. You're like, where are we going?
There's a lot of stuff.
It's that like, SNL sketch of, like, when will the beat drop?
It just never drops.
It just never drops.
Yeah, it's also kind of a weird... There's a few weird things. I guess this isn't that big a deal. He says Gravy Digger?
Yeah, he is... English is not his first language.
Which is, like, fine, but also, like... you could listen to the original song. I don't know.
Is it because he thinks it needs to fill the same space as Babysitter?
Oh, maybe. Maybe it's a rhythmic thing. And, like, fine, I guess, if that's the way he does it. But there is another thing he does later on. Mm-hmm. Which is... This is not a complaint. This is just an observation. For the love is an abyss for my heart. But he says it like, your love is an abyss for my heart.
Mama, my heart.
Love is an abyss for my heart. Which sounds like... Do you know the song Youngblood by 5 Seconds of Summer?
Oh, okay, that's why you were listening to it.
Yeah.
I do know that song.
Where they say the pushing and pushing and pushing away. It sounds like that line from that song, which plays at the gym a lot.
Interesting, but probably not what they're referencing here.
I don't know.
But this song does carry some ideas that I thought were good. Verse 2 brings in a kind of bluesy riff.
Verse 2. Yeah, the new guitar riff. Yeah. That's like sometimes kind of following the melody.
Yeah, and almost hits like a surf rock progression of that, like. I should have time-stamped it.
Second verse is 48 seconds.
Yeah, it's like a grungier surf rock progression.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of distortion on these guitars.
And I thought, hey, that was a great idea if we could highlight that and make it more of a callback. 'Cause, like, surf rock, again, we're talking the 60s here.
And then
Let's bring it in.
The third verse goes back to their, like, long distorted chords.
That's right.
So they, I mean, it's more intense, like you said, more drums and, like, organ and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Last week we talked about, what was the band? They had the Beatles intro, and then it was...
Oh, yeah, and then it was just, like, nothing. Bonfire.
Yeah, this is that without the Beatles intro.
Yeah. Yeah, I did say this. Yeah, not really all that interesting. Except for some weird stuff. Okay, there's another moment I wanted to point out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a joke. When they're doing the Is It Coming repeats...
Right.
Right around 2 minutes, there's like, I think, cricket sound effect, which is kind of funny. They're like, oh, we're just saying the same thing over and over again. Crickets. Is it going to change?
It's either crickets or a synth that sounds alarmingly like crickets.
But I have no idea if it's actually supposed to be a joke or not.
I don't know.
No idea.
That is something they do. Yeah, and good on them for trying a rock version of it. It is the first rock and roll version we've heard of it.
That's true. But definitely, again, lacking in that like novelty and interest of the original.
And interest. We will get some novelty and interest, but not quite yet. First, we got to go bat in 2019.
Go back. Oh, did you see the music video?
There's a music video for
the CUBOT Records one.
It's not that interesting. A lyrics video.
It is a music video. It's just them performing it though. For the most part.
Tell me about it, Alex.
Guy has a single humbucker Stingray. It mostly focuses on the singer, which I believe is Max. He's kind of wearing like a loose toque. There's one part where there's several of him, and then when he says walls come down, he pushes the two to the left and right down. So they seem like they're having a lot of fun recording this.
Yeah, they do.
Which is cool. But yeah, you get to see a lot of Max. And sometimes there's 3 of him. They're mostly just in a room and they play.
Yeah, they're just in a room. Yeah. I can't imagine wearing a toque indoors. It just gets too hot for me, you know?
Yeah. This is not covering his ears.
Away from it.
That might be.
Also, these dudes are young as shit. They're all like 10 years old. But yeah, that is the music video. I can't believe I missed that. But we're going to talk about Bat in 2019.
I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Got another mouth to feed. Leave out the
Which, there's a lot of groups that are called like Bat or Bats or something.
Yeah.
But these are, I guess, a psychobilly group, like a rockabilly / punk.
Not just a psychobilly group, a psychobilly super group.
Super group? Oh man, you got more info than I did.
Containing members of Necromantics, The Brains, and Stellar Corpses, and Razurex.
Didn't even think there were that many members in the band.
I know there's 3 of them. I don't know how they have that many. I guess some of them could be from multiple bands.
From multiple bands, yeah. So it's basically like they've got this like rockabilly thing going on, but also like goth or possibly steampunk, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I watched a music video on their page, not for this song, but it really was like Batman, like the old Batman show was the vibe.
That makes sense. Yeah. Kind of silly though.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I believe that. Punk / goth, which I guess are related, plus rockabilly. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's
equals like Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
I hadn't done that math before just now, but no, that checks out.
But it checks out, and I guess they come off as that. They've got a bit of that lo-fi energy.
They do, definitely, and it does have an old school sound. They've got like the rockabilly slapback thing going on, but also like a lot of echo that I would expect from more gothic rock.
Yeah, very echoey voice.
Yeah, which gives it kind of a surf rocky sound.
Yeah, just a bit.
Which I think works, but also, I mean, they're kind of a throwback thing, which works with the song.
Yeah. But where they fail, because I guess, we talked about the 2 things we want from this song. A little bit of throwback and novelty. Sort of two opposing ideas. These guys hit the throwback. They miss the novelty.
The individual parts aren't really that. I personally found like the sound fairly novel. For me. And it's not like one of the really long versions either, so.
Yeah, they come in and out. They're only slightly longer than the original.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a lot of like guitar chugging with that like kind of rattly sound.
Yeah.
Old rock and roll stuff.
And they do the same thing both times. Second half, the chorus picks up. It is just like pretty tame. I think like tonally the sound is good and novel, but you need the actual like development within the course of the song, right?
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do a ton of that build. I do find their aesthetic very novel, though.
Yeah, kind of fun. I'd probably see them live.
Yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't be very expensive, so that would
it'd be like
help.
$5 if anything.
Yeah. I mean, they are a super group.
They are a super. Oh, it might be $10 then. Gotta pay an extra $5 for the super. We got one last act to talk about today, Alex.
We do.
The Holophonics in 2019.
Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. It might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
Holophonics, which are a ska punk group.
Yeah, from Denton, Texas.
And this is actually what this version has is kind of 2 things that are related, and those things are ska, and reggae.
Yeah,
because like for the which part? Second verse?
Yeah, second.
They
chorus?
like just slow it down. Second chorus.
Yeah,
and just like go kind of more reggae, and then pick it up back again at the end.
Yeah, they pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
They pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Yeah, so this one has the novelty factor. They know to change things up and keep us interested. It's also the shortest version we're talking about today.
I mean, they got
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Got a lot of ska energy. At least for most of it.
Yeah, so it's vocals, boom, skanking guitar. So it's sparse, but we've got the energy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually. I said reggae. I don't know if it's technically reggae, but like basically they slow it down. That's my point.
Yeah, they do like a slower section where we kind of dip into a groove. There's some good bass work on this.
Yeah, as we often get from ska.
Yeah, they know how to do bass grooves in ska, and there's no exception here. You get organ, you get horns.
Yeah, not a ton of horns though. They just come in a little bit.
No, just a bit.
Do some accents on the end of the lines, you know. And I think they have like a trumpet and a trombone and a saxophone, so there's a lot of brass going on.
Yeah.
And definitely, yeah, continues like good like novel adaptation to the like ska reggae punk thing. The individual parts weren't necessarily the most novel, but like just the structure of like, hey, it's ska now.
Yeah, I think because like a lot of the part is just everybody play the skank.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, that's fine. See, it thrives in the fact that it moves from the skank, but it is also good that it has the skank, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, I mean, you gotta have it, or else what is it? Not ska.
You got backing vocals. You got like it feels like a full production that is maybe better than the sum of its parts, right?
I think that's a good way to say it, because like I'm struggling to describe it as what I think it is. Like, and again, like last week, maybe I just happen to enjoy ska punk.
It could be that as well, and
because that seems to be more and more true all the time.
I will say, from like a genre association standpoint, ska punk is associated with fun.
It's true,
and also rebellion. If anyone is a rebel for kicks, it's white people into ska music. That's That's the demographic. Yeah, this one I wasn't expecting much from, but I think weirdly it kind of threaded the needle. I think it landed the mark, and this is, I guess I'm segueing into our final verse here. It landed the mark.
I mean, this one has a music video as well.
Shit, Alex.
Also, mostly it's just them performing it. Like, this is them recording it in a small room.
Okay.
The drums are clearly not in the same room as them. It's fine. The guy has a bunch of Star Wars figurines on his wall.
Okay.
I don't see the keys anywhere, but they really mostly just play it in this room.
Yeah, okay. That is a music video. Legally, technically speaking, that is a music video.
Yep.
And now we've talked about it, so we're going to get into our final verdicts here. We got 3 categories today. The worst version, the best version, and the version that would let's do 2 weird categories. The version that sounds the most like the year 1966 and the version that sounds the most like the year 1986.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
How do you like that?
Don't like it.
You don't like it. That's too bad. What's the worst version, Alex?
Worst version. I think I gotta give it to Hannah Dorman.
It's a rough one.
Just, maybe it's easy, but I just really not into this style, and it didn't do anything for the song.
No. A good choice, Alex. I'm gonna go with Pentatonix just to spread the shit around here.
Yeah.
It's cheap and easy for me to give it to an acapella cover, but holy man, there's just nothing there. Yeah,
very, very straightforward cover. It's an acapella version, I would say. I know a lot of people who would enjoy it because they like acapella, but
you know a lot of people?
Did I say a lot?
You said a lot of people who would enjoy it.
Oh. Well, I shouldn't have said a lot. I should have just said people.
How many acapella fans do you know?
I think my
Your
parents,
mom.
my mom would like this, is what I'm trying to say.
That's what I
Love
thought
you,
you were trying to
Mom.
say. If your mom has made it this far into the episode, I'll be very impressed. Hi, Alex's mom. Alex, what's the best version of this, and why is it the Holophonics?
The best version of this. Yeah, I didn't enjoy the others all. Well, I enjoyed Bat and I enjoyed the Holophonics, I would say.
Okay. I like Alyssa Reid in a weird
as
way.
Covers. So I think I'll throw it to Bat.
All right.
Because like I said, I found like the sound of it to be something I liked. In similar way to I mentioned for Hannah Dorman, I kind of like the way it was recorded because it sounded rougher. And Bat had that as well.
Right.
But I actually liked the version more than Hannah Dorman. So
That's very fair.
that's who I'm going to give it to.
Fair. I'm giving it to the Holophonics. Good energy, good instrumentation. I like that it changes up the groove in the middle. Fun stuff. Alex, which one is the most 1966 sounding version?
Most 1966. Probably
Or
not the
1986.
really electronic ones.
No.
66?
66.
Well, I mean, Bat, right? Because they got
It's gotta be
the
that. They've got the
they've
whole
got
throwback
the-
vibe.
the old school Batman thing going on.
Yeah. You could say Pentatonix, but like I don't think that type of a cappella music was really in vogue in the 60s.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
my
it's
understanding.
there's too much like production on it, I think. For it to-
Mhm.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it wouldn't fit, but I don't think so.
It's not what I think when I
I
think
mean,
of
we listened to
1966.
some acapella from the 90s and it was like terrible. Like it was very
yeah.
amateurish. So I mean, pre-Glee, I just don't think there was much of a market for it.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think Bat is the right answer for 66. I'm going to put forward for 86. It's got to be CUBOT Records and Max Göttler, because that's just like 80s cock rock.
I think you're right. I think you're right about the rock. But also, see, I'm trying to like think of an electronic one that would fit. But the electronic ones aren't really like 80s synth style,
No,
right?
Revelries is so very like to the year. Like count the rings on a tree, you can pinpoint it as 2018.
Yeah. And like
And then like Zhu's version also doesn't feel like
yeah, it doesn't feel
80s
it's
synth.
more so, but again, like with that speeding up thing, like it would be Chipmunks if it was
Mhm.
if it was 86, I think.
Right, yeah, the
Um,
tech on display is purely
Yeah,
you couldn't
it's
get
too
it there.
modern. There's a lot of very modern stuff in this, you know?
Mhm.
And ska, I don't think it really taken off.
No, that is like tinged in 90s.
And I just can't think of another reason. I think it's
But
got to
86, you could probably start seeing at the fringes some ska. Because I think NoFX
existed.
is and
Yeah,
we're
it
not-
probably would have been early. Maybe
yeah,
ska
NoFX
is
was
the
around since
answer.
1983, so ska
Maybe
is
ska
actually
is
an
the
acceptable
answer.
answer.
Okay. All right, then that's got to be it. That's got to be it. That's a
Solid picks.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
Holophonics.
That was fun to think about. That's the show, folks. That's been our main segment and truly our only segment. Well, we got Theremin at the top. One
We
of our
did.
2 segments. If you got a different opinion, similar opinion, want to talk to us about a version we didn't talk about, of which I think there's a few, hit us up on Twitter, #CoverMePod, @JakeTheCressy, @some Alex Wise Guys. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, recommendations for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. Talk to us there. Be sure to rate and review us. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcasting app, your second favorite one, maybe even your third favorite. Does anybody have more than one favorite podcasting app? Hard to say. But, tell your friends about us too. Tell us where they can find us and let us grow our little teeny tiny fan base, listenership, people who have heard us by accident. Come listen to us some more.
And
Love to
maybe
hear from
now
ya.
on purpose.
Hey, maybe now on purpose. That does it for today's show. And as we always say on Cover Me, ooh, Cover Me is just for kicks now.